World War II, the complete story from beginning to collapse. World War II stands as the most devastating conflict in human history. It left behind entire cities reduced to rubble and reshaped the global political landscape in ways still felt today. To understand current geopolitics, one must go back to this war which raged between 1939 and 1945. The roots, from the end of World War I to Hitler's rise. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed, officially ending World War I. However, this treaty carried a crucial clause, Article 231, the so-called War Guilt Clause, which placed full responsibility for the war and its destruction on Germany. Germany was forced to pay reparations amounting to $33 billion at the time, around $270 billion in today's value. Payments began in 1921, triggering hyperinflation that destroyed the German mark, with bread prices skyrocketing from 160 marks in 1922 to 200 billion marks in 1923. Unemployment and poverty surged, paving the way for a charismatic figure like Adolf Hitler. In 1923, Hitler's Nazi Party attempted a failed coup, yet his popularity rose, fueled by his rhetoric blaming Jews and socialists for Germany's humiliation. The Great Depression of 1929 deepened the crisis, leaving 6 million Germans unemployed. By 1933, Hitler had declared himself chancellor, then dictator, and launched his vision of the Third Reich, an empire built on racial purity, excluding Jews and Slavs. Breaking Versailles and early expansion. In 1935, Hitler openly revealed the creation of the Luftwaffe, German Air Force, in direct violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Britain, viewing the treaty as excessively harsh, signed the Anglo-German Naval Agreement, tacitly recognizing German rearmament. France, alarmed, constructed the massive Maginot Line along its eastern border. Annexations, Austria and Czechoslovakia. In 1938, Hitler coerced the Austrian chancellor into allowing Nazis into government positions. Soon after, German troops marched into Vienna unopposed, aided by relentless propaganda. He then turned to Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia inhabited by 3 million Germans. Britain's Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, desperate to avoid war, signed the Munich Agreement, handing the territory to Hitler in exchange for peace promises. But in March 1939, Hitler broke his word and invaded all of Czechoslovakia, exposing his expansionist agenda. The invasion of Poland and the outbreak of war. In August 1939, Hitler signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact with the Soviet Union, pledging non-aggression and secretly dividing Poland between them. On September 1, 1939, nearly 1 million German troops stormed Poland in a lightning-fast campaign known as Blitzkrieg, combining tanks and air power for overwhelming speed. Within a week, Poland collapsed, with the Soviets attacking from the east. Britain and France declared war on Germany, though they offered Poland no real military support. This period became known as the Phony War. Expanding the front, Finland, and Scandinavia. The Soviet Union attacked Finland in the Winter War, 1939-1940, suffering heavy casualties before forcing Finland to cede 11% of its territory. In April 1940, Germany invaded Denmark and Norway, swiftly overpowering both. The fall of France, and the miracle of Dunkirk. On May 10, 1940, as Winston Churchill replaced Neville Chamberlain as British Prime Minister, Hitler unleashed a massive assault on France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. French defenses focused on the Maginot Line, while German forces unexpectedly pushed through the Ardennes forest with 40,000 vehicles. The Allied forces were trapped near Dunkirk. From May 26 to June 4, 1940, Britain launched Operation Dynamo, the largest evacuation in military history. With naval ships and civilian boats, around 350,000 soldiers were rescued across the English Channel, despite relentless German attacks. Yet days later, on June 22, 1940, France surrendered to Hitler. Mussolini, dictator of Italy, joined Germany under the Pact of Steel, declaring war on France and Britain. By July 1940, Germany controlled nearly all of Western Europe. The strategic situation by mid-1940. Germany stood at the peak of its power. The Soviet Union, bound by a non-aggression pact, posed no immediate threat. Britain stood alone against Nazi Germany. The United States, still pursuing isolationism after World War I, had not entered the war. At this stage, had fighting stopped, Hitler would have been the undisputed victor. But history had other plans.